I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All righty. Thanks, everyone, for coming. It is Tuesday, February 14th. Probably all heard. A little something called Valentine's Day. This is the Gateway School Board of Directors study session. Let's have a roll call, please. Ms. Isha.
Yes, Mr. Bova.
I am here.
Mrs. Cerrucci. Here. Mrs. Delaney. Here. Mrs. McBride.
Here.
Ms. Mungo.
Here.
Mr. Ritter.
Here.
Dr. Singh.
Here.
Mrs. Warning.
Here.
And Mr. Williams.
Here. Before I go on, I want to welcome Mr. Williams back. It's great to see him here again.
Yes.
Hey, Scotty.
Scotty, terrific to have you here. Hey, we had an executive, enough, Scotty. It's time to move on. Let's go. I'm sorry, Scotty. Go ahead.
I just want to thank everybody for their cards and prayers and everything. It's been very helpful. And I haven't started anything yet, hopefully next week. And they said it's going to be a walk in the park, so we'll see. Go with the hand you're dealt and move on.
Thank you, Scott. It's great to have you back.
Yep, I missed you.
We had an executive session earlier to discuss both personnel matters and Act 93 negotiations. Next on our agenda, we have Keisha Cunningham, who's going to get up and tell us a little bit about herself, a book that she has written, and anything else she wants to talk about except that vegan stuff. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. You go right ahead, ma'am.
Okay. Is this on? Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Keisha Cunningham, and I'm the owner of Cosmo Galore, a vegan and cruelty-free cosmetic business that has been in business for a little over 2 years now. Cosmo Galore started during the global pandemic because, just like any kid, I was bored at home trying to expand my my hobby of makeup. Because of this, my skin started to break out, which led me to look into these products I was using on my face. My research caused me to find that the products I was using on my skin used toxic chemicals like mercury, which can cause damage in the kidneys and nervous system, and carcinogens that can cause cancer and more. Coming from your favorite brands like NARS, MAC, Benefit, Lancome, and more. And if that wasn't bad enough, these brands also use animals as their lab rats. These animals only get to experience one emotion in life, and that is fear. About 88% of brands use animals for their testings. Saddened by my findings, I wanted to be the change. And after that, months of research, I developed Cosmo Galore. I started to sell my vegan and cruelty-free lip gloss and lip balm through pop-up shops and promoting on all social media platforms, and everyone has loved us since. I even sold out at my first pop-up shop back in 2020 and have been doing so much more since then. In addition to that, I published my first book on August 24th of 2022, Growing Up Divided. I wanted to tell everyone how I've gotten to where I am today between growing up with split households who never got along, growing up in a non-diverse community, as well as the lack of diversity in my school systems. I wanted to let kids know that they aren't alone, as well as giving parents a kid's perspective of the things that can go on with their children. Cosmo Galore is going to so many more places for our book tour, so there is so much more to come. Make sure you tune in for the future. Thank you, everybody, and if you have any questions, let me know.
Does anyone have any questions for Keisha?
No, but her book is available on Amazon, on paperback and by Kindle.
Do you have any with you?
Yes, I did. I have.
And don't give away mine. I bought mine. I bought it for her to sign.
Aww. I will have many copies in the library selling that you guys can pick up. And if you guys wanted to see me a little bit after, I have glosses and lip balms and extra books.
We'll do that. Thank you very much. Very nice.
I just want to say, we like, we like to come in and just always showcase our students at Gateway High School. And when I heard about Keisha, I just knew it was someone that we wanted.
What grade are you in, Keisha?
Is it?
I'm in 9th grade.
Ninth.
Oh, man.
Wow.
And even her teacher who has come to support her as well, Ms. Hertzberg.
pretty sure when I was in ninth grade, I was actually still collecting baseball cards. And not like a speculative thing either, it's just,
Do you have any of your friends or brothers or sisters working with you?
My little sister is my assistant right about now. She helps me. She helps me with making gloss and stuff.
wonderful. What, excellent. All right, remember to catch up with Keisha when we're done in here. We'll move on to Darren Johnson, Gateway High School student, Geography Bowl participant, yes? Please step to the mic. Tell us all about yourself and about the event.
Thank you. I am a 10th grader at Gateway High School, and last Wednesday, myself, four other students, 3 high school students, and 1 student from the middle school participated in a Geography Bowl at Hempfield High School. We were competing against 8 other teams, and we placed 3rd as a team. I myself placed 3rd individually, and the subject of the competition was European geography. And working together on a team like that, especially as a group of students who were in different classes and in different years, we were able to cooperate and work together to succeed. So, yeah, thank you.
Wonderful, thank you, congratulations. We have, yeah, excellent job. By the way, this is an ongoing thing, the Geography Bowl, this has happened year after year. Is this the first time we've done well, or we have a history of doing well, do you know?
I went to it last year. I believe we placed, I forget, but we did place last year.
Okay.
And it's been going on for several years.
All right, thank you. We have one person who wasn't on the agenda, but I've invited, Benny Kuster is with us. Benny works at the Monroeville Public Library, happens to be a Gateway grad, happens to be my nephew, full disclosure, like one of my top 5 favorite nephews, I'm going to say without question. Benny's got a great program. You're moving up, Ben. Benny's got a program he's working with, I think it's very exciting for the students of Gateway. Well, good. I don't want to say, Dr. Silly, I'd be rude.
He said it, I thought it.
All right, Benny.
I just wanted to say a couple words about our upcoming Teen Film Festival. It is open to anyone in grades 9 through 12, and they can submit a 3 to 5 minute video or a 3 to 5 page script for consideration. For the festival, we're partnering with Point Park University, the WQED Film Academy, and a couple other local filmmakers to really give any local teen in the area who's interested in film or filmmaking just a chance to showcase their work, meet other filmmakers, and also meet people in the local film community so they can kind of expand their knowledge of where they can go after high school.
Excellent. Is this the inaugural year? Is this, we're
Yes.
just kicking this off?
Yes.
Excellent. So, I'm sorry, what is the date of it?
It is on March 25th at 1 p.m.
And when do they have to submit?
Yes, they have to submit by a week before on March the 17th.
So March the 17th, submissions to the public library to you, get you online, or?
Yep. And I have flyers, and they can just send it to my email, which is just kusterb@monroevillelibrary.org.
Excellent. Any questions for Mr.
Do you
Kuster?
put those flyers out to the students, or is there a location that can go to grab that information?
That's a good question, yeah.
Flyers hanging around the high school.
So do you have a few for us to distribute, Benny? Excellent. Why don't you leave those with us?
There's flyers hanging around the high school already. They've been up since
Oh, for this?
January.
Yes. Oh, excellent. Okay.
Benny sent them when he first.
Excellent. All right. Any other questions for Benny?
Thank you, Don. They've been out. Sure, thank you.
Very nice.
Nice job, Benny. Thanks. All right, we're going to move on to comments from residents on agenda items. Has anyone signed up?
No one has signed up in advance.
No, anyone want to comment, even if you haven't signed up? Nope, not at the moment. Okay, we're going to move on to board member discussion items. Let's go alphabetically. No, I can't even figure that out. Who's got something they want to talk about?
Would be Mary Beth.
It would be me, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I think some of us would like some background on the history and what's happening with the Gateway pop-up program, how it came to be, what the plan is moving forward, et cetera.
I asked Ms. Hoffner to join us, and she's on Zoom, so if we, Jen,
I can hear you.
okay. Do you want to give a little bit of background or how everything came about with this pop-up market?
First of all, let's tell everyone, Ms. Hoffner is a principal at University Park School. I know
Yes,
most of us
and
know that, but not
I will
everybody.
say that she initiated the backpack program 3 years ago, I believe, 4 years ago.
It was about
And-
4 years ago, yes.
Okay, and she saw the need in the community. We started out at University Park, and then it branched out to the other elementary schools, and now it's the whole district. So Jen, if you don't mind, you want to take the floor?
Sure. Thank you so much for just giving me a couple of minutes to kind of talk to you a little bit about not only the backpack program, but the pop-ups that just began this year. Obviously, as Mrs. Warning stated, we recognized that there was a need within the Monroeville and Pitcairn communities several years ago. We started at University Park, obviously, with the backpack program, which then the following year branched out to the other elementary schools. And then this year, it's now both at Mosside Middle School and Gateway High School. Through that pop-up and through the collaboration with the Pittsburgh Food Bank, we recognized also post-pandemic that many of our families did not meet the threshold. They didn't receive food stamps. They weren't at an income level where they could receive food stamps, but yet they were still struggling, even post-pandemic. And so many of the families were reaching out, asking about, possibly receiving where they could acquire more food. With not only myself, Mrs. Warning, Aaron Smith, one of our social workers, as well as Mrs. Major within the district. We shared many of the local food banks, whether it's Garden City, Crossroads, as well as the Pittsburgh Food Bank as well. In talking with Beth Kocius from the food bank, it's a nice partnership when you're offering a successful backpack program, that there was the natural progression in recognizing that there was still a need, although there are local food banks, that there was the possibility that not only could we support the local food banks, but we could also provide another avenue for our families as well. So this point, we've offered 2 pop-ups. We've not heard from any of the local food banks that we're in any way intruding on what they're attempting to do, but that we are supporting and providing families with another outlet that they're able to confidentially acquire food. Mrs. Warning? Hello?
Yes, can you hear us, Ms. Hoffner?
Yes, I can hear you.
So, first of all, when folks in the community hear the word pop-up, that's typically kind of associated with something that's sort of spontaneous. Is this expected to be a regularly scheduled thing, like monthly, or how do you anticipate this going forward?
So again, obviously this would require the approval of, Dr. Short and the board. The first pop-up, we had about 110 families come to the pop-ups, and I had the opportunity to kind of walk through as I was giving some directions, and recognized many of the families just with my 17 years within the district. This past pop-up, we had even more than that. It was about 130 families, and some of the cars had 2 families within the cars. The hope is that we could potentially offer this pop-up once a month, the second Wednesday of every month. We have incredible volunteers, the FTO at Mosside, the Interact Club, the robotics team. We had members of the board, myself, other administrators within the district, teachers, families, the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts. So we have the volunteers, and we're able to support the need within the Monroeville Pitcairn community. And it honestly, there's no cost to the district other than us utilizing the space. The volunteers, we break down all the boxes, we clean up before we leave. So really, we manage ourselves, at the pop-up. So the hope is that we can offer it on a monthly basis. We did actually, Mrs. Koshis from the food bank did come to kind of observe at this last distribution, and the feedback that we got was phenomenal. And what she is hoping other districts, she said, as well as other businesses and districts are wanting to offer some of the same opportunities with these pop-up food banks. And she'd like to kind of direct them to Gateway because of how successful, how well organized, and just the incredible volunteers that we had participating with this last drive-through pop-up.
And it's open to anyone, not just Monroeville and Pitcairn residents, correct?
So how we did the notification regarding the pop-up was it only was sent out to the Monroeville Pitcairn families via Skyward. It was posted on several of the Monroeville Pitcairn specific Facebook pages. So yes, I mean, the goal is to reach as many families within the Monroeville Pitcairn communities. Now, can I say that I can control that, somebody from another community would, kind of heard word of mouth from a friend in Monroeville? No, I can't control that. But we're able to support the need with the many volunteers that we have, the incredible volunteers that we have. So the goal is just to meet that need for Monroeville and Pitcairn. But again, we're not limiting anybody. And we do cut it off. So if the pop-up's going to run from 6 to 7:30, we do stop it. We kind of cut cars off and say, okay, we're finished for the evening. And typically when we're finished, almost, I would say 98% of the food is gone. There's very little that remains.
So Mrs. Hoffner, when you know that you have a line that's longer than is going to last longer than the close of the event, are you notifying people so that they're not sitting in line for an hour, half an hour, and they've waited, and then you say, sorry, we're out of food, you don't get anything? Are you able to?
Yeah, no, I mean, we are able to support that. We do communicate. We're trying to move folks through the line. Obviously, we've only had 2 pop-ups to this point. This last one was a little bit larger than the first one. So we are kind of preparing to try to meet the need of everybody that we have. But yes, we are communicating. We have staff, I say staff members, volunteers. They're not staff. I say staff, meaning volunteers helping us with the pop-up. So we're able to communicate when we're kind of nearing the point that we may run out of food. And the foods that we're providing, fresh produce, meats, cheese, coffee creamers, cereal, soups, I mean, you name it, we're offering it. And the families were pre-packaging. Obviously the first one we learned a lot. So we're pre-packaging a lot of the food in boxes. So when you pull up, you might get a box of meat, a box of canned goods, a box of breakfast materials, foods, milk. So we're making sure that, we're not just, giving out, we're being equitable in regards to what we're giving out.
And when is the food delivered? How are you storing it, and how does it get here?
So we get 1 free delivery a month because we have the pop-up. So basically we schedule the delivery the Friday before, and we try to schedule it as close to the actual date of the pop-up. This last one was done on a Friday. It is a free delivery. And then what we do is we are utilizing, Martin has graciously offered some space, some available space. And then the volunteers get the food and we pre-package it and we bring it out the day of the event.
I have some concerns when I saw the line wrapped around the sports complex. And please understand that I believe in helping people, but one of my concerns, and I think it might have been answered, was security, traffic control, and also if someone was to get hurt, if a fight was to break out. There were a lot of people wrapped around the building last week. Was it last week? And we've seen, across the country where there have been people that get angry because they've run out of food, or someone that doesn't even live in this community ends up coming to our facility to obtain food. And I believe in helping everyone. I just want to know about just, are we liable if someone gets hurt? If there is an issue where, I mean, how are we protected as a district?
Very good question, Robin. I had Mike do some investigation talking to our carrier.
Thank you, Dr. Short. I spoke to our insurance carrier, and I have a form here. We're gonna have to, I just got this today. Every volunteer, whether they're a community volunteer or a school district employee volunteering, must fill this form out going forward so that we're protected as a school district. I'll make it available to everyone
Now,
that's involved.
That's in terms of the volunteers, in case they get hurt?
In case they get hurt.
So obviously, Ms. Mungo is talking about the external things that we don't have a form for. So, Bruce, maybe you could answer this.
Please. I'm certain you have insurance coverage for these kinds of things.
Okay.
As long as it's on school property, you're gonna have insurance coverage.
You know, I just, you know, and like I said, once again, I don't want anyone thinking that I don't want to help people. But, you know, if someone is at the school for a different function and they can't get through, break through that line of the cars there, like who's controlling it? There was no one there controlling. It wasn't until the very end, and I saw you, Leslie, and then there was someone else that came in and kind of barricaded the area so no one could get back in, so no one could get in line, that line cut off. But when the cars are bumper to bumper and someone's up there for another function and they have to cut through, there's no one there stopping that traffic, allowing people to go through. Where's the traffic control?
That had, Mrs. Hoffner, is that correct? That's been a conversation, because they have.
Yes, that has actually been a conversation. Obviously, you know, we don't know what the turnout's going to be, because you don't necessarily know what people's needs are. You know, in regards to the safety perspective, obviously any of the obviously everybody's provided with, you know, very clear direction in regards to what their role is. Nobody gets out of their car. They are instructed. I mean, literally, we walk car to car and say, you know, thank you for coming. You need to remain in your car. So nobody's leaving their car. Certainly we can take a look at, you know, maybe even speaking with Mr. Key, does he have a suggestion in regards to better traffic flow based on the number of cars that we've had thus far? So we can certainly look at that. And that's been a discussion. Again, we didn't know what the response was going to be, but you have Monroeville and Pitcairn community residents that are in need. Again, at the first pop-up, and I mean no disrespect, but when I'm
not an argument. That is not an argument. I totally agree with you. I work with a food bank at Garden City. I've worked with food banks. You are not saying anything that is wrong. I get that. It's just other concerns, and we have to take that into consideration. And that's the reason for these discussions and to ask these
most
questions.
definitely.
Right. Was
Most
Mr. Ritter?
definitely.
Where's Mr. Ritter? Did you have difficulty leaving swim practice with the traffic?
Yep.
And you mentioned that, and it is concerning. We're not saying that we don't approve of the program, but we're saying if we have issues, we need to come up with solutions for them, because it's our responsibility to oversee the safety of our students who are here for swim practice and our facilities. And I almost would feel better if we had some type of volunteers with flashlights and orange vests directing traffic or cutting traffic off.
And prior
or
to
something like that.
The last pop-up, but the first one I had mentioned to Mrs. Warning about providing signs outside for directions for people to show.
That would be good. I mean, there's
Also,
some things we can do to improve.
Well,
utilizing our school resource officers.
we do have signs. We do have signs. We will probably talk about redirecting the traffic, maybe instead of going around the sweat complex, coming down to how they park and come out the other way, go up the.
Like we kind of serpentine them in between the parking spaces, as long as there's like no vents down there.
Yeah.
So like come in the student parking and just serpentine this way, and then it will give them more room for cars.
Right, so we're talking about the logistics of this. No one's questioning the significance, the validity, the worth. We simply, before the next pop-up, want to make sure that we get the logistics right so that the people in line aren't in any way imperiled, nor are the people trying to get in and out of our events. So that's all. This happened like a pop-up. This happened kind of quickly, and we didn't really have much of a chance to talk about it before it started. And almost sadly, it's quickly grown because of the need in our community, and there's no reason to doubt that it's not going to grow more.
Well, exactly. That's what I was going to say. You know, the first week you had
110 and then
10, you had
130.
130. I guarantee you the next month you're going to have more than 130.
So Ms. Hoffner, we want to help you do this as well as and safely as it can be done.
Exactly.
We appreciate that. I certainly appreciate that.
He is us. We're, you know, and I think that's sort of part of the thing was it kind of happened almost outside our knowledge, so we couldn't help or contribute or be part of it because it just sort of emerged.
And understanding understood how it originally started, because I was enlightened by this. I mean, you given an explanation today.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I was going to suggest maybe starting a nonprofit, you know, but now that it's been explained, it's a different story.
Also with spring sports soon happening, outside practices, it's important that we do have those dates ahead of time so we can coordinate who's in the parking lots, et cetera, for traffic.
So it is going to be the second Wednesday, right, of every month?
That is correct.
All right, so.
That receive the backpacks, are we making sure, I know you can't put meat in their backpacks, but you already have identified these kids. Are we making sure that those families are receiving these boxes of food, additional food to assist them?
Yes. And so I know even specifically for some of the families at University Park, I'm personally delivering things to them and dropping them off on their porches, in their garage. You know, when they call me and say they need food, you know, again, because of the research, as you all are very well aware, when you look at academic and social and emotional growth, it related to food insecurities, you know, we make sure our kids get what they need to help them to be successful.
They're our priority, and if someone's coming from a different community, you know, we can't stop that, but we better make sure that our kids who are involved in the backpack program are getting what they need.
But there's
Most
other creative
definitely.
ways that we could do that. Like, I mean, I've, in my experience in running some other events outside the district, sometimes you can provide ticketing. If we want it to be our students and you're sending out a skyward, maybe you have an RSVP and they have to have a coupon or a ticket to come through the line, that you can ensure that we're serving our kids in our communities.
Well,
these are just brainstorming.
No,
I'm not saying.
I just want to mention one thing. When we have the grab and go lunches in the summer, we have no record who is getting them. Anybody can show up. So they're coming from other districts. I mean, I hear people talking. They might go at University Park, then go over to Cleveland Stewart to pick it up. So we don't have any control over that either. So this is why, like I said, it was very overwhelming, the first two that we've had, but then discussing that, there's no other way that we could really, even with the grab and go lunches, control that, is getting that.
And I wondered, because I did see some seniors, and they don't have students anymore, but they are residents and they were seniors in that line. So I would think we want to accommodate them as well.
Do we have
Absolutely.
employees coming through also?
Yes, we did. So, and, you know, I know it was questioned also about staff, you know, helping in that. The only thing the staff did was it was put through as a Mosside Middle School event. So the staff did take the tables back in, but it was what they normally do after an event. So it wasn't that they were working, doing anything else.
Any other questions?
And the lady from the community food bank was there this past pop-up, right? And also gave you guys some tips and tricks.
Correct. She will be here. I did invite Beth to come next Tuesday from the food bank to, you know, you can ask questions, or, you know, she can fill you in on everything that's going on. But I do really have to thank the food bank, because I have to thank George Lapsovich, our first pop-up. We rented a truck that, how big was it, Liz? 28-foot truck or something.
I had to go get a shot in my shoulder from moving it.
And it was packed with everything from the food bank was free.
17,000 pounds of food?
Yeah.
17,000 pounds, right? Of food, from milk, produce, meat, Lysol wipes, Clorox wipes.
And it was just, it was overwhelming. No, George did. George did.
All right, any other questions
Very thorough, very
concerning
helpful.
this?
No, that was great.
Excellent, thank you, Ms. Hoffner.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
You too.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you.
Any other board member, Ms. Rucci, anything else?
That's it for me.
Any other board members with discussion items?
Sure, one discussion item.
Yes, sir.
We've got the policy committees. This is the time to review all of the policies. So I picked names out of a hat, and I sort of assigned some folks to different subcategories, and so you each got an email today. If you don't like your category, try to switch it to somebody else, and then let me know. And over the next couple months, we're going to be reviewing these one by one with the Dr. Short, his team, the PSBA. They've got some input to this. Principals. A lot of folks are going to have some input into this, and so this is our time to polish up the policies. And so we're going to dig in and do it week by week by week.
Thank you, John. Anybody else? Nope. Let's move on to the Section B, bills and financial reports.
Thank you, Mr. Bubba. Resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors approves sections B1 list of bills. Item 1, financial reports, section B1 list of bills, February 2023.
Take over? Yes, thank you, Mr. Boa. Moving right along, section C, no items previously tabled, so moving forward, section D, personnel. Ms. Jessel.
Thank you. We have 4 resignations that are listed on this document, along with a leave of absence pending for Evergreen Elementary. Additionally, there are a slew of transfers, as you can see, as they continue on to the second page, or second part of the page. 2 individuals for employment, one at, both at Mosside Middle School, one as a custodian and one as a building secretary.
Hey, someone actually had a question. Is there a particular reason, like some folks are named and others are just an employee number? Is there a kind of rhyme or reason to that?
The leaves are employee number for privacy reasons. The others are not subject to the same treatment.
To whoever asked me that, there's your answer. I can't remember who it was.
Wait, what was the answer?
Privacy issues for
Privacy
certain
reasons for leaves.
Oh, for when they for leave of absence. Okay.
All right. Okay, moving right along.
Nope, sorry, continues 2 more on the other side. So there's 4 in all for this listing for additional individuals and then supplementals as well.
Yes.
Volunteers and event workers continue on the next page. And as we discussed in executive, one of the volunteers will be fulfilling the supplemental for esports just as a volunteer.
And I would like to make a motion to make Mr. Malaya an action item for this evening as a volunteer for the esports so they could start.
That would be under item number 5, volunteers.
Second.
That motion has been made and seconded. Ms. Warning, could you pronounce that gentleman's name completely, please?
You heard it the first time.
I want the first and last. Any questions on that?
I do.
Yep.
Actually, it, under the transfers.
Yes.
Wait, I'm sorry, I think we have a motion for Mr. Maliala.
There was anything? Oh, on the.
On the motion. yeah.
Sorry,
She wants to make an action item, we have to vote.
sorry, that was.
Did we, that's what this motion's for, so. Is your question's not about that?
Not about that, no.
All right. Do we have any questions about this? No. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right.
Now it's an action. Now it's an action.
Ms. Warning.
Now we make a motion to
I would like to make a motion to make this the action item.
Motion
I'm
to
sorry,
approve.
to motion to approve Mr. Malaya as the volunteer for esports.
Very good. Made and seconded, again by Ms. McBride. Any questions on that? Nope. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Now, do we have any questions on anything else in the
Yes.
personnel section?
Your question.
Yeah, I do. So 3C, D, and G.
Yes.
So the secretary from Cleveland Stewart to Mosside Middle. Principal. Did we fill the Cleveland Stewart secretary role?
I apologize, there was a typo on that. Mosside Middle School secretary role, not principal role. We are actively working on filling that void. We have involved the incoming principal, Serene Bay, in that in those discussions, along with the guidance counselor at CSE, to allow someone in the building to help have input on the direction of things there. At this time, Mrs. Dragovich is still at Cleveland Stewart for student safety reasons, due to one, us not filling the void, and two, not having a principal at that site at this time.
And the approval for a temporary transfer of staff nurse from University Park to Gateway High School. Do we not have a nurse at UP right now?
So we have a temporary nurse at UP through a third-party agency. Natalie Kalkstein, listed in 3C, is finishing her program to become a CSN. So we went ahead and moved forward with emergency certifying her, due to us not being able to secure a CSN during our recruitment process for the months leading up to Ms. Bishop's departure.
Okay. And we're G, a personal care aide to a paraprofessional. Does that, I don't know the position description of either one of those. Does that leave a hole for a personal care aide?
I will divert to Heather on this.
Been promoted to a paraprofessional. She completed her coursework.
Oh, okay, so that's just logistics or legalities, okay. So there's no open position there?
No.
Are we still having personal care aides?
It depends on either their service agreement or individual education.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, on coaching, there's 3 blanks. Does that mean those positions are still open?
That is my understanding, yes.
I'm working on filling those for you.
Okay,
Thank you.
There you go.
All right, any other questions? Nope. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's move on. What we got, Dr. Short?
Section E, conferences. Dr. Shakey?
For discussion tonight, we have 3 conferences, 2 individuals to attend the PSU MAC Admins Conference and 1 to attend the PMEA Regional Orchestra Festival.
Moving right along, administrative reports, elementary education, Dr. Rossi.
Item number 1 is to approve the select following pre-K material, is to be pending final approval of the program in the 23-24 budget. Item number 2, approve the affiliation agreement with the IUP, pending final budget approval. Item number 3, updated administrative regulations, schedule of rates, draft is depicted in Exhibit B. Item 4, 23-24 school year calendar. Item 5, display of textbook materials, approve the following textbooks. Item 6, AIU Memorandum of Understanding Translation Services.
Item 7, approval of the software agreement with Skyward Incorporated. Approval of the agreement with Skyward to provide student management software for a 3-year commitment starting July 1st, 2023 and ending on June 30th, 2026. Item 8, approve the hourly rate increase for Weiss, Burkhart, and Kramer LLC. Approve the rate increase to $155 per hour for Weiss, Burkhart, and Kramer LLC to provide special counsel services to Gateway School District. Item 9, acceptance of district donations received for the 22-23 fiscal year. Accept the following donations. A, Bruce Dyson Associates PC, $750 for the Gateway School District Fitness Trail. The utilization of Gateway School District in the community. B, Charities Aid Foundation of America, $150, the Gateway School District Backpack Program to utilize the Gateway School District and the community. Item 10, District Booster Clubs and support organizations, for the 22-23 fiscal year. Recognize the following district booster club and support organizations who have properly submitted applications to the district for the 22-23 fiscal year, the baseball boosters.
Thank you, sir. Any questions?
Yes, I have a question on the elementary education display of PK materials. Dr. Rossi, now, are these on display right now, or they're going to be?
Once it's approved, they'll be on display. We have them.
Okay, because, yeah, it says for final approval, and then the budget itself, the final approval is June, so this would have to be.
Now, this could be a 3 or 4 month process, but what that means is pending final approval of the pre-K program, if the board chooses to have one, but we have to start now.
Right.
August,
And
so
we
that's-
still have some money in the budget to do this, should we move forward.
That'll be part of the budget, so that's why we're kind of doing this now. We'll add it to the budget, and then if we get the competitive grant, it would offset that.
Dr. Rossi, you had mentioned in the one building and grounds meeting that we had that we needed to make a decision February, March at the latest. So would this be put on pre-K? How is this going to work?
This would, we're getting approval now so we can start the process because we need teachers to review the materials if we're going to be ready for August. We can't do this in the summer. We have to do this now.
And logistics of the building as well.
Right. So we're kind of going that one option where we're going to proceed. And if we don't get the grant, then maybe we just stop. But there's also that option. It's up to you, the board. If you want to include it in the budget, we can go that route as well. But we have to take care of some of this.
Okay.
These things that we're required to do.
All right, thank you.
Take time.
So you will have it on display at least by Friday, this Friday?
No, after next Tuesday's meeting, so next Wednesday.
Next week.
After approval.
Do we have to approve to move forward with the whole program next week?
No, this is just more of an FYI that it's being,
So this is one of the steps to.
it's being displayed. Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And
yes.
What other steps?
Then you'd approve the program. So once it's been displayed, the teachers need to review it. We'll have our kindergarten teachers do that in May, and we'd probably approve it in June.
Okay, and to get the preschool program moving, if the board decides to utilize the money before the grant comes in, what other steps need done?
There's a needs assessment needs to be completed. The application opens in March, it's due in May, so we have to do a complete needs assessment.
It's a really
identify the building.
big process.
There's a lot of things that go into the grant. Yeah, we just can't do a pop-up pre-K. We got
And since Leslie and I both are on the curriculum committee as well, but can this be made an action item?
I'm not sure there's a need for an action item on this.
Yeah, I think as long as we get it by next week, we'll start the review process and, June to have a final board approval.
We're going to be calling an education committee, curriculum committee meeting here so we can wrap everything up and, yeah.
Any other questions?
Sure. Curriculum committee.
You're asking me this, or what are you saying?
Yes, can we make sure that he is added to the curriculum committee?
Ms. Isha, could you do that,
Thank you.
please? Mr. Zarell, how much were we paying Weiss, Burkhardt, Kramer before?
I believe it was $125, $30 an hour.
What do you think? Bruce says they're not worth it.
Oh, that's not true.
Never said
Strike that from the record, Bruce, right?
Just so you know, that's a very good rate.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
Oh, my gosh, you're right. I asked an
you match
attorney
that, please?
about an attorney's rate. Oh, dear.
Well, I just know that they charge a lot more than that.
Well, thank you, whoever, if you're watching, for the great rate, and we'll be talking about that. Any other questions? No?
I'm sure they get a donation and they'll pop up.
I'm sure there's a rule against that, Mr. Dice. I don't know what it is, but- All right, then, let's move on to.
Section D, resolutions presented by board members.
I think we had one, did we not?
Yes, we did.
We have a candidate for the.
Would you like to read that, Mr.
Board of
Singh?
Directors?
Dr. Singh, I'm sorry.
Yes. Oh,
So I would like to consider to become a candidate for our AIU Board of Directors, 3-year position starting 2003. Exhibit A.
Okay.
All right. So that'll be an action item.
That'll be an action item next week.
Yep.
No other resolutions, board members? All right, then let's move on to comments from residents on non-agenda items. Yes, sir.
Hello, board. I'd just like to thank the board for approving that pop-up event going on for the needy of Monroeville and Pitcairn. Also, there might be a little suggestion, maybe show driver's license when they come in, but the problem is you're putting the staff on a peril because if somebody from East Pittsburgh or somewhere, I'm not just saying East Pittsburgh, and they might get appalled or teed off, and then you're gonna have a problem with the crowd then. And also, I just want to thank Mr. Williams. Welcome back.
Yeah, and I'd just like to say, I agree with George. I think we'd be putting people in a horrible position if we start trying to identify who should or shouldn't be there and then asking them to leave. That's,
It's a confidentiality.
yeah, that's a nightmare scenario.
I'm glad Robin didn't ask those questions, because that's something that is. Cheryl Boyce from Monroeville. I was a little disappointed. I went to the meeting last Thursday with Dr. King. Saw Dr. Chakey there. There were only 6 community members. There were 2 principals and 2 school board members. So it's a total of 10. I understand there was 25 people that originally had RSVP'd. I guess my question is, are you going to do that again? And if you do, maybe if you did it like at 7 o'clock instead of 6, that gave parents more time to get the kids home, get them settled. Because for community members to show up at 6, sometimes it's a logistics issue. Just as a comment, do you think you will do it again?
Yeah, we'd be open to do it again. I know Dr. Kane would be, definitely.
He mentioned that, and I didn't know if he had specifically asked you, but I think it would be a good idea. I'd like to see 25 as opposed to 6 community members. That'd be great. I know this is an agenda item, but you brought this up, and so I have a lot of questions. When will the state release pre-K count funding? Is there a calendar? I mean, when do they do that? August. So you're going to approve this basically not knowing if you're going to get the funding. So the district's going to have to determine, I mean, I'm a big pre-K person. So you're going to have to do this based on, you're just going to make that commitment, and whatever cost or whatever you have to do, you're going to have to do it. And then if you get the money, then that's just sort of icing on the cake.
You could do it, there's 2 options. You could do that option where the district is going to go forward no matter what, or it's just pending the grant.
That's an awful lot to do, waiting for the grant. Is it like beginning of August, or, I mean, the state I never trust with money.
They say July, August, but from what I've heard in the meetings, that the last 2 awards have been in August, not July.
The last 2.
Thank
Are we allowed to ask what the dollar amount is associated with that? Does it vary?
It does. It's based on the number of kids, number of students in your application. So there's a meeting next week. I'm going to do it in person, so I'll give you a little more information.
So did you sort of guess how many kids?
We're going to plan on 40, 20 in the morning, 20 in the afternoon.
So you're going to split it. It's not all day.
Right.
It's going to be morning and afternoon. Okay. Because kids in daycare are not going to be able to do that necessarily. That's why I wondered what you were going to do. Just curious. All right, let's all pray that the Department of Education gets their act together, because otherwise I'll be sitting here for
That would sound good, Cheryl.
So I just want to remind people that this is like a 3-step process. The first step is for the board to arrive at a conclusion about the need generally for us to be in an expanded pre-K. And I've had the question about how this impacts our high school program with pre-K, and I think we've discussed that here a couple of times. It doesn't.
It doesn't?
The thing that we're doing at the high school right now with the students, that pre-K.
Right.
The thing that we're contemplating does not impact that, correct?
It may.
It may.
Impact the students. meaning the 5-year-old, the 4-year-olds.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
right,
it doesn't,
okay.
won't impact necessarily the program, but
Right.
some of those parents may choose to come to the pre-K program.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's, some of the things the board needs to be thinking about, first, the community need of an additional pre-K program, how it benefits the community, how it benefits the school district. That's kind of step one, and then we'll puzzle through the, grants or no grants or whatever. And we'll do it quickly, because we must.
How many pre-K students are in the high school program? Is there a limit on how many are able to enroll per year?
She did give us that number. I'd have to look at my email for that.
Okay,
I don't
and
have it offhand.
the anticipated possible pre-K program has to meet a income threshold.
Correct,
to
yes.
to be eligible.
Yep.
So this would target income-based families to help them who couldn't afford to go to around the area preschools.
Yes.
Correct?
Yep.
Okay. So it might free up some spaces for other students to come into the high school program because these
Good.
kids would be eligible for.
If you look at it that way, yes.
And I think that's what we're looking at, Leslie. We want to,
maintain them.
Yeah, we want to maintain them, and they have a limited number.
because I've been in those classes, so they do have a limited number, but we want to still expand so that we are going to be offering and providing services for more of the pre-K students, so they're more I don't want to say more ready, however, prepared as they get ready for kindergarten.
One other reference to what Ms. Boyes was talking about. We've mentioned Dr. Kane and his work in the district multiple times. He's been here. We've had a number of meetings. Similarly, Dr. Short's had a number of roundtable meetings, and frankly, the turnout's just, there aren't many people showing up. So that's either an indication that people are thrilled with the way we're doing things, or perhaps some degree of apathy. I think your roundtable started at?
We had University Park, and we had.
No, at what time? I mean?
6 o'clock.
So, maybe they're too early.
Evergreen 0.
Maybe we try one later in the day. I don't know how else to get the word out. Again,
You should go to people's homes.
No.
I truly believe in this day and age, with everyone being so active, with different things going on, after school events, that does take away from parents wanting to be there.
I appreciate that, sir, but one of the reasons we started the roundtables was because people suggested that there was not enough communication, there was not enough opportunity for feedback. So, doesn't.
People respond more by Zoom because they don't want to leave their house.
We've had that internal conversation about videoing and Zooming.
Well, maybe we try the next one Zoom, just to find out if it's that simple.
Post it and see how many.
Yeah. And the Dr. Keynes has a couple more meetings with different groups, and then ultimately with the board to tell us how it's been going and what his ultimate recommendation are. But anyone who's got an interest in this, find out when he's chatting. He'll welcome anybody. He's a resource that we will take advantage of, whether people show up on Moss or not, so.
And Cheryl, it's kind of right, if you're getting home at 5:30 to kind of run to a 6 o'clock meeting, but I also know the administrators of the school, they are after school for a lot of events and start their day at 5:30 in the morning. So it's, maybe we can compromise at 6:30.
No, that's worth,
Just
anything's worth the trouble. Yeah.
Willing to try anything.
So Dr. Kane's meeting last week, I guess we are talking about same thing. There was some meeting and some people were invited, some people were not part of it. And Susan suggested me maybe I can join, she's going, and I had something else to do. But I would like to join any meeting he has with the community, because I haven't met him since day one in any group situation when we met at the Ramsey School. Since then, I have not met him in any group situation.
Well, he's been here and spoken a couple of times, and we'll certainly find out when he's doing his next program, which, you know, our 10,
Well, he was comprising a summary of that one
Correct.
before going into
Okay.
the next one. That's what he said.
and of course, he's got a child on the way, so he's anxious to get these meetings done and gather data as quickly as possible before he goes on to his next phase. So, okay.
All I'm requesting is that if there is next meeting and I'm allowed to attend,
I grant you that permission, Dr. Singh.
Thank you.
I don't think I have that power, but I've done it. I don't think anyone will stop me.
Jen,
Ma'am.
his next meeting is supposed to be middle school teachers, and no offense, but I think you should let the teachers talk to him about themselves.
Well, the teachers have actually asked for that because there were board members at an earlier meeting, and he certainly didn't kick them out, but he suggested that the audience had a particular purpose, and Dr. Singh, we will put together a meeting with Dr. Kane that you will absolutely be part of, but now I withdraw my permission for you to attend the next one. I'm sorry. I feel bad now. I feel, sorry, you're out. All right, let's move on now to, we got any reports? We got a superintendent's report.
Yes, last week we had an opportunity along with the board and some central office personnel to tour the renovated Gateway Middle School. It's fascinating to see the development of that over time. Internally, we were able to walk through the building, and I can say from someone who has been in that building multiple times, you get disoriented walking through it because of the different hallways, and you have to acclimate yourself to where you're at. It's exciting to see the project come together. Internally, within the middle school here, we're currently working on a program of studies, maps, configurations, hallways, traffic routes, et cetera. So there will be upcoming meetings with the public, especially those families going to the middle school next year. So, yeah.
Excellent.
What's the timeline on that for opening?
The building itself is scheduled to be completed by mid to late August. So at that point in time, we'll be moving right in.
Sorry. We're a long way from being done.
Well, I like your optimism, Dr.
Six months away, 6 months.
There you go. Well, yeah, it is. All right, do we have any board committee reports? Anyone want to talk about their stuff?
I do.
Yes, ma'am, fire away.
I just want to, on the sports end of it, Don Hall's on also, he could chime in. Our boys basketball team took the section and are section champs, and they play the first playoff round on Friday at 8 o'clock at Gateway against Woodland Hills. So let's try to support them as much as we can. They have a great team, and they're all in it.
Can I get any tickets for that? How do I do that?
Go online. We have digital ticketing.
That's right, I heard about that. It didn't work, I couldn't do it. All right, thank you. Anything else, Ms. Warning?
I do want to say one thing. Last night, I was invited at the Monroeville Library to one of our board members' book readings. She had written a book, Budding and Wilted Roses. That's why I have my roses on tonight. It was such an inspirational night and moving and it was just, I can't say enough. You know, I didn't know what to expect walking in, but just, I'm not trying to push your book, Susan, but.
Push my book.
But Budding and Wilted Roses.
That's the word.
Yes, but it hits home. I mean, the poems that she wrote, just how she just coordinated everything. She had musical accompaniments, she had a vocalist there, and just everything just came together. And it was beautiful. And cupcakes. And chocolate roses. So I just want to thank her, and
It was open to the public. I didn't personally tell everyone because I didn't want you to think I was soliciting, so. But it was, the library had promoted it, so I figured that people would know about it. And thank you. Thank you for that.
Wonderful. Who else? Who has something?
Can you get an update on the baseball, softball field, and also the tennis courts?
Thank you, Mr. Williams. We are currently operational up there at the high school, and when I say that with the baseball and softball fields, I've seen both teams up there practicing. There is still sand that needs to be dropped into the field to make it a little bit more firmer. Also, the netting is on its way and will be installed before practice begins. I should say spring sports begins in early March.
Yes.
Also, the dugouts will be finished as well. As far as the third field, we must wait until the actual mud is dry before we get the machinery back on there.
And the tennis courts, there's a group that wishes to utilize the tennis courts?
Yes, I received an email from Sean Logan, and apparently they are looking at hosting the Senior Olympics. I'm not sure what the age group is for that.
What are you looking at me for? Look at
And they may wish to utilize our tennis courts, so they want to do a site visit. So in speaking with Mr. Williams, we're going to be going up there, looking at our tennis courts and seeing what repairs are needed, if there are any. So I have.
Can I make?
Dr. Short, can I just chime in?
Go ahead, Mr. Hall.
Hello? Yeah, just a real quick one. Both scoreboards are going to be up by Wednesday night as well. They've already bored the holes. They're setting the beams, and we expect them to be putting scoreboards up both in left field, hopefully by tomorrow night. And one other thing about sports, the bocce team, one of the bocce teams also made the playoffs. We are hosting an 8-team, basically regional playoff at Gateway on March 1st. And there'll be more information about that later.
I did see the scoreboards unboxed, Mr. Hall, and they're quite impressive, rather large, going up in the outfield, so exciting to see.
And I'd like to tell everyone, I watched the bocce, one of our bocce tournaments. If you have any way to go there, you should go. The bocce is kind of quirky, but the joy of these competitors is infectious, and it's all that's good about sports. So what was that date again?
March 1st.
March 1st.
Is that an evening or afternoon or?
After school?
There'll be several rounds. The first round will start at 4 o'clock. The semifinals of that regional at about 4:50. They play one frame, and then the next one at about 5:30. So from 4 to 6 or so will be the bocce on that date.
Excellent, thank you.
No truth to the rumor up at the Italian club, they're practicing outside at the old bocce courts. I heard folklore.
And I don't want to let that out.
Okay.
Since we're talking about sports, may I?
Can we talk about hockey at all?
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent, let's do it.
You know, I am the Gateway Hockey fan mom.
We're just sporting a jersey back there.
Yes, I know. Thank you, Mr. Lebsovich. You should see how awesome the kids look in their jerseys. We did change the way that's done, though. The kids actually now buy their jerseys as part of their tuition, so there's a constant replacement and rollout of the jerseys instead of having to buy them all at one time. But side note, this is the 50th anniversary of Gateway Ice Hockey Club, and we had special jerseys to commemorate that the kids wore the senior night, which was February 3rd. And I want to thank just the district for their support of Gateway Hockey over the years, and they provided a bus with students to come. I want to thank Coach Hall for that, and administrators, and also Mr. Rossi for riding the bus with the kids. It was just so nice, and there were some teachers there from the high school that came to watch and support the boys. It was just phenomenal, because when my kids got involved with this like 6 years ago, I mean, it was really like on the verge of falling apart. You know, like there were kids that played that year from the football team who literally never played ice hockey before, just to keep things going. And they're having a winning season. They're like, I think they're like in third place. Like they're having a winning season. It's been a great program. It's kind of come alive. And I said to Coach Hall, you know, when I'm gone, if he's listening, I said, please make sure this program keeps going and keeps going strong, because the boys are really doing well, and it's so nice to see so much support and see their hard work over the last few years actually.
We do have
hang
the
on.
plaques up in the Henry Fury Sports Complex from
That's
Long Beach,
awesome.
so.
Yeah, so that's all.
And I am still here, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention I got to watch a game at Mount Lebanon as well earlier. And just like Mr. Bova said about bocce, the skill level of our hockey team is really good. I think you'll be impressed by the quality of play. It's an exciting style in the high school level. For those of you who are Pens fans and whatnot, it'd be worth checking them out if you get a chance before the end of the year.
Thank you, sir. Who else? Leslie, did I see something over there? Board reports, you got something? I saw you.
We were talking, but we are, the safety committee is working with Dr. Chakey and Brian Key to have a meeting next week to look at if any changes need made with them and to see if they are reaching any barriers that we can come up with solutions. And Robin, myself, Mary Beth, I think Val, Dr. Chakey are all gonna sit down
And when is that meeting?
the committee meeting is next Tuesday at 4.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
Sure. I'm the liaison to the Southwest Regional Transportation Committee. We had a meeting at Chartiers Valley about a week and a half ago. Police officers came and they gave a healthy backgrounder as to the certification requirements that go into all the school buses. So the long and short of it is everything needs to be inspected, certified, and documented. There are mechanics that review and log every bus that comes in and goes out, everything that they do to work on the buses. The bus drivers themselves have a log that they have to keep, that they have to go from the front to the back. They have to walk around the bus and on and on and on. There's a 6-month certification stamp that buses have to get. So the long and short of it is, from a school director's perspective, the folks who have contracts with the schools have a load of requirements to make sure that the buses are absolutely safe. So if any school directors would like to go down and just walk around like 5:30 in the morning when the mechanics are there and the bus drivers are loading up and warming up, feel free to do that. I've done it myself once or twice. They deserve cupcakes, Robin, these bus drivers. So
I've done inspections before.
they do. I mean, they're unsung here, like a lot of the unsung heroes. These people get up in the morning when it's snowing, raining, everything else. They're grumpy, they're tired, and they do their job and the best they can, and they come home. But the mechanics and the people that certify these also are unsung, like these state troopers that do this. This is their job, to make sure that the mechanics are in line, and on and on and on.
It takes them a whole summer to do them.
Right. So the second thing is, I'd like to say that the 8th grade band concert for Mossag Middle School is going to be held the end of this month, the 28th at 7 o'clock. I'm going. I like to see little kids play music and have fun and play their hearts out, 7 to 8. Mossag Middle School.
Jack, I do have something, and I don't want to prolong the meeting. Has there been any conversation with Elizabeth Forward? Are districts able to assist them?
Districts are coming forward and assisting, especially around the perimeter of Elizabeth Forward itself. Bob Shear from the intermediate unit has been reaching out to a number of superintendents, getting together, suggesting ideas, even as far as, the basketball team. They're utilizing the Thomas Jefferson Gymnasium for upcoming events. So to answer your question, yes.
The auditorium at that school had a big fire, and so it's in dire need of help. So Robin's just, and many school districts have been trying to find ways to help out
with that area. Elizabeth Forward, and tragic situation.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
I first want to thank Kezia Cunningham for coming out, speaking to us, and just being an inspiration. Hopefully some of the young students will be inspired, and her mother, Miss Donald, for obviously motivating her and keeping her focused to even do the things that she's doing. And that's what we want to see with our community and our parents and all, how they work together to help our students be excellent. That's all. And I'm excited. Tomorrow I get to ride the big yellow school bus because we have a program. Ms. Nicolazzi left, but we have a program that at least 40 of our Gateway students are going to participate in the Black History Month Summit, Student Summit at Soldiers and Sailors, tomorrow, and it's a full-day program, and students have submitted essays and all kinds of things, so
I don't know who's going to win. I did have to judge essays, but not gateways. So there are a number of schools that participate. I know I volunteered with this program for the last few years, and we have hundreds of kids from all over the other districts coming, and this is the first year that Gateway will be coming. And then the following Monday, Miss I had said her name, I must have been hungry when instead of saying Miss Tortorella, I said Miss Tortolito, but I probably was hungry when she's got a program that's coming up, the Girls Leadership Academy, February 20th, and I know I'm going to be there, I think Belle, and I'm not sure who else, but we've got some exciting things that our kids are involved in, and we'll let you know about how all of these programs go. And one last note on, as I usually do, add something with Black History Month. One of the individuals that I was highlighting, whose birthday is today, is Bishop Richard Allen, who was born February 14th, 1760, died March 26, 1831. He was the African Methodist Episcopal Church. He developed all of that, and especially when you think of back in the 1700s, to do what he did, to travel throughout preaching and trying to get people involved in it, and it speaks volumes. So if you get a chance to read anything about Bishop Richard Allen for the AME churches. I'm through.
Thank you. And you can extend an invitation to one of the students tomorrow to come here next week and tell us a bit about.
Can you? Oh, okay.
Next week, a student that attends tomorrow.
Okay, and also I've already scheduled for Mr. Spinola to have the Black Student Union talk for the next meeting. So maybe some of them are involved, but some that are not, we'll still get a.
The best part of our meeting are the students telling us what's going on in their world, so.
That's why when I talked to Mr. Spinola, I said, we need to just have our kids show, like we did tonight, we want to showcase, whether it's geography, competition, whatever.
Right.
We want to showcase.
So we want that invitation out to students, to parents, if you're watching this, make sure your kids know they're welcome with anything that's going on, like what's happening there. Reminder to anyone else who's watching, if you have any friends, anyone looking for work, check the website. We need bus drivers, we need workers, we need, we need people, so. Yes, so please do that. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thanks. Have a good night, everybody.